What's going on, guys? Happy 2024. This is Yoni right here. It's been a minute the last time we chatted, and it's not because we haven't wanted to, it's we got caught up with business, with life, and we know we do this podcast as a hobby, as something we want to over deliver to you guys. And today I want to share with you guys something that I get constantly asked about in the DMs, in person, and phone calls, and sometimes I can't break it to you guys that easily in a 5-minute conversation. So I want to make sure we deliver this podcast in the best and efficient way so you can listen to it anytime you have a question. I can just share with you this podcast. If you're someone might be interested in this wholesaling or possibly flipping real estate, this will be a huge asset to your knowledge, and then move on, right? So in any event, I hope you guys crushed it this 2023. I hope you guys are documenting your journey. I hope you guys are journaling and setting these goals. Not because that's the only way that works, but for me, that's the way that securely works. There's more than one way to skin a cat. You don't have to say it. You don't have to do it. I was the type of guy that always winged my goals, that always winged my tasks, that always winged it, and it didn't go too well for me, right? So about 8 years ago, I made the decision to start documenting my journey, documenting my goals for this upcoming calendar year, which we did this week for our 2024 goals. And it really works, and we journal every single day in a way that we program our subconscious mind of who we are and who we're supposed to be, and the tasks that you do on a daily basis have to be aligned with the journal that you document every day, the goals that you're doing. So if you first say you're trying to break the 6-figure mark and you're constantly going and overspending that, and then you'll start going bar hopping, which there's nothing wrong, but that's just more to you. To me, there's everything wrong, but we're on our own journey, right? So if you go constantly bar hopping, you're probably going to overspend. You're probably going to be attracting low-level energies, and then for the next day, it'll snowball into your life of what you do every single day, of what you eat every single day. You're probably not going to go into your morning routine, so everything matters. And then that's when you ask yourself, are these tasks or activities that I'm doing aligned with the end goal? And by the end goal, I mean that if it's aligned with your purpose in life. Actually, today's reading from the Daily Stoic, it said, I don't know if it was the Daily Stoic or the Daily Laws of Robert Greene, is that if whatever you're doing is aligning with your purpose, why are you here in this world for? Do you know your purpose? What's your why? Who are we? Where are we? If we don't understand exactly where we are, how are you going to understand who you are? So in any way, I audited my goals for last year. I hit 75% of them. I was chatting with my accountability group that every year I'm at like 75 to like a 90% that I reach them, but I would rather reach, let's just say 80% of my goals than 100% of no goals. Or 0%, because I set these goals of what I want to do, right? So it's okay, in my opinion, the how I see things, it's okay if I fall short 80% of 100% than if I fall short 100% of zero, of nothing, right? So I'm grateful for these goals. I've been doing them for 8 years now, 7 years, 8 years, been journaling every single day, and I do see the evolution of who I am as a person, as a father, as a son, as a business owner. I do see the evolution, and I obviously get this feedback constantly from a lot of people, right? Because you evolve, you mature, and it's all wisdom every day. So don't underestimate 1 year of full commitment of what you can do. Never underestimate 3 years if you stay committed on this journey, and you'll be really surprised who you become during this journey. And it all starts with the 90-day blitz. So if you guys commit to 90 days, it's unbelievable. The lifetime dividends that you guys will gain in wisdom are lifetime. So you will, I see a lot of people that I went to high school with, that I play soccer with, and they get surprised of who we are, because we used to hang out, we used to do the same activities. Not saying that which one's better or not, but for sure I'm pursuing my purpose. So in any event, today's episode, there's no guest. The only person that's going to be speaking is me, and it's regard to wholesaling and flipping real estate, right? So I get constantly asked, like, oh, what do you look for houses? What type of houses do you look? What do you say when you find a house? How do you do? I'm going to give you guys the marketing channels. I'm going to give you guys what I use, how I talk to them here today. So in any any event, obviously we all know it's a real estate, right? It's real estate related. It could be a house, it could be apartment buildings, it could be a store. I got to the position that about 2 years ago we wholesale the school. So we sold the school, right? We sold land. So it just really depends. You know, I see real estate like a buffet, right? Apartment buildings, commercial buildings, land, whatever you're interested, whatever you're inspired to do, you can sell them all, right? So it starts, you know, and I'm gonna give you guys an example of 2 houses that we currently have renovating, right? There's a house in the city of Paramount and one in Wilmington. One came about direct to seller. What that means is, me personally, I was direct contact with the seller. So how I got this deal was driving for dollars. I was actually walking, saw a house, identified a house. What happens there, once you identify a house, obviously you need the address. I use, and by the way, I'm not getting any kickbacks, I'm not getting any referral fees, and I'm gonna give you the marketing agencies or channels that I use. So I use Deal Machine here. I save the address, and I usually say this: Deal Machine is like playing Pokemon. You know, you see an address and you save it, right? You see an address and it's a GPS that you track with you. So I save the address. It was 1 or 2 streets away from where I currently live, and I spotted the house. I peeked and I seen that it was empty. I knew it was a hot lead, right? Because it's in my neighborhood. I was persistent. I went through several skip tracing services, which I use REI Skip, Lead Sherpa, there's a few other, and until it was TLO that someone did it for me. I got the phone number. I called over 20 telephone numbers until the last one he picked up. And this was a situation where this was an inherited house. They had owned this house for 70 years. The owner was, I would say, mid-70s, 80. He was trying to renovate a house in the city of Paramount, and he lives in Laguna Niguel. Pretty far, right, for a 75-plus-year-old guy. So he was renovated, and he was 6 months into the renovation. It was his brother's. His brother had passed away, so the brother inherited the house to his nephew. So now the son and the dad owned the house. We met in person. We built some rapport. By building rapport, it's like you gotta get on the phone and you gotta be likable to them, right? I always say people do business with people they like. So at the end of the day, you can't be a douche about it. You know, you got to be likable. So we were likable. We built rapport. And when you build the rapport and when you're talking to a seller, you want to make sure you're talking to motivated sellers. That is the key here. You can't be like, we're looking for people who need to sell, not want to sell. So that's the difference. Because I'm in the city of Commerce right now at a house. It is an escrow to sell, but if I lived here and if someone says, I'll give you $1 million for it, oh yeah, of course. That is, I want to sell, but I don't need to sell. So we're looking for people who need to sell. They're moving out of state. They're going through divorce. There's a death of the family, there's an inherited property, and the list goes on and on, right? I had situations where a seller got deported and we were still able to do the sale, although he was in Mexico. So there's still different ways to do this, but the key is we're looking for motivated sellers, people who need to sell, and then what is the situation? Why do they need to sell, right? So do I need to sell because I'm moving to a bigger home? So does that sound like a distress situation? That does not sound like a distress situation. That sounds like he's upgrading and money is not a factor. So why would he need to sell fast, right? Unless he's moved into the other house and he doesn't want to carry on to this payment. So it just really depends, and you need to have that common sense, that consciousness of what these people are telling you, right? So in this particular situation, the seller needed to sell because he was already older. He was ready to go to Hawaii with his new girlfriend. 75 and a new girlfriend, that's kind of silly, right? But hey, no judge zone. So before we met, I found out his pain. He didn't want to deal with the house. The condition of the house, I peeked over it. It was, a little distressed. There was no kitchen. It was almost stripped down. And we had an idea, a ballpark. He said he wanted 500. So I kind of had his idea. I knew that the house in this neighborhood, this house is worth around 700,000. So I know there's a little bit of spread there, or sufficient spread. So I saw the conditions, time frame. He wanted to sell in the next 30 days. So we want to make sure we have, because if someone tells me, yeah, right now we're in January, right? If someone says, hey, I'm gonna be moving out of the state in December, is that a hot lead, or is that more of like a warm lead? To me, that's a warm lead. We want to keep engaging, building the rapport to see where they're at. So by the time that they need to move to December, we're the first one to stay in touch. So we consistently follow up every 2 weeks, every month, or depending on what your time frame is, right? And what's next? What's next with their life? So like, what's next in your life, Mr. Seller? So in this situation, this guy wanted the money because he was going to go to Hawaii with his girlfriend, and his son is a stay-home dad, and they were looking for, just kind of get it over with. So we agreed on a price of $475,000. We tied up the deal, and the property's worth $700,000. In this situation, I could have wholesaled this house for, I believe it was like $560, $570. I got offers to sell it, and by that means is like you just wholesale the contract. So you have this contract between you and the seller, and then you get it into escrow. There's times where they ask for deposits. There's times where they don't. Usually, let's just say 1% of the purchase, or around $5,000. You put $5,000 in a good faith deposit. I have the contracts to wholesale, so just send me a DM, send me a message. I'll be happy to send you the contract I use. So once you have that, you have it in escrow, then you put a time frame on your contract, 30 days, 21 days, whatever. So in this situation, you find a flipper, an investor who's going to live in this property and is going to pay you the difference. So let's just say $500,000 for the sake of, just make it an easy numbers, right? If I brought this contract, it's already signed, I put it in escrow, then we assign it to an end buyer. So, and this is B2C, right? And so this is kind of an assignment contract. I asked this C person to sign the contract. They walk it, they see it, they like it, they see the vision on it. So they agree, we agree on $500,000. I put it into escrow, and I remove myself from escrow, but I have a $25,000 invoice there that I get paid as a marketing, as an, just whatever you want to just call it, but I call it as a finder's fee, assignment fee. There's different terms that you can put. So again, I found this deal walking or driving, whatever you want to call this, or driving for dollars is the term. I put it on the application, which is Deal Machine. It's a service. I think it's about $100 a month. From there, I skip trace it through several skip tracing services. I got the phone. I called this person, and we met in person. It took us like 3 weeks of follow up. We tied it down. We assigned it. No, we actually closed it, but I could have assigned it and made I don't know, $61,000. I think it was the assignment, or $71,000. But it was a sizable assignment fee. But we're taking this property down. We're gonna close on it. We're flipping this house. So this is how you make. This is what wholesaling real estate is. And again, there's different marketing channels. You could do, this is driving for dollars, right? So this application is really cool. You could drive. I recommend you have a passenger and you just look at distressed houses and save them. You get a list of like 500 contacts. You skip trace them. It's about 8 cents, 3 cents, depending on the amount of leads that you get to skip trace, and then you call them. If you want to be efficient with your time, I suggest you get a dialer. If you get a dialer, I would suggest, if you're just a one-man guy, a two-man show, just get a Mojo, get call tools. If you have a bigger operations, we use Ready Mode that calls like 9-person, 12 people at a time, and then whoever picks up the phone, that's who you dialogue with. If you're kind of like a smaller operation, that you don't have those funds to pay for the dialer, you could just, after you skip trace them, you hand dial them. This is exactly how I started. I used to hand dial them one by one, right? And once you have this list, we go back to the 500 contacts, right? So you have 500 contacts. You could also use text messaging platforms, which we're currently using launch control. But in the past, I've used Lead Sherpa, and I have also used batch leads. So what happened, this list is already script traced. You already paid for the telephone numbers. You dump it in this platform, and you text them. So now you have two different marketing channels. Some people do not respond phone calls by unknown numbers, so possibly a text message will be the solution. So, you know, you text them is so beautiful. You can probably send like 100 texts in like 30 seconds. So, you know, you text them. Obviously, it's a paid subscription, this Lead Sherpa or these other platforms. You text message them. After they respond like, hey, yeah, I'm considering to sell, you don't like ever want to just negotiate through text. There's some people that may want to, but at the end of the day, you want to get them on the phone. Some people will, you know, sorry for the cussing, but are just wasting your fucking time. They're not realistic because remember, these people get called and text very often. Especially if they're in pre-foreclosure, especially if they're death of the family, divorce, because there's all these lists that are filed, right? So after you text message them, you want to get them on the phone. Hey, I may consider it to sell. And you want to go back to these 5 questions, right? Hey, Mr. Seller, thank you for responding to your text message. I do see that you own this house, and you want to make sure you have a realistic, you want to get these 5 questions answers, you know, time frame, motivation, condition, price range, and what's next for them. If they're realistic, we've gotten several deals through text message, so it definitely works. Some sizable profits too. So, but we want to make sure we get on the phone with them. At the end of the day, we want to make sure we get on the phone with them. We've been involved in 3 situations. Thankfully, we did not close them, anything like that, but there were fraudulent sales. There were people who were pretending to be the other person, right? So we want to make sure we get on the phone with them and use your common sense. Don't get driven only by the price. Make sure you use that. Be present with these sellers, right? And you want to comp these properties, right? If you're getting these properties, they're asking in a situation 500,000, you want to make sure that they're spread in it, right? 500,000, the ARV, which you know is shortened for after repair value, 700,000. There's 200,000 in spread. Let's just say you add a $30,000 assignment. After there, the flipper is picking it up at 530. Is there room for him to make money? Let's just say he dumps $50,000 into it. There's still $120,000. He's going to spend $20,000 to hold it because these people, most of them use hard money lenders. These people, the hard money lenders charge pretty high interest, right? They charge about a 10%, 8%, 12% interest plus 1 to 2 points to generate the loan. So they have to pay for this loan, and let's just say he's going to spend $20,000 and then another $25,000 to sell it. So he's at $600,000, $625,000 to sell at $700,000. There's still $75,000 profit, so that's a good deal. You could probably increase your assignment there, but you want to make sure that there's profit on your deal, right? Because if not, you're just, you know, spinning your wheels for no reason, you know. So, and when the motivation is right, the price will be somewhere around realistic. If the house is worth $700,000 and the seller has no motivation and he's asking for $750,000, you know, there's no motivation. So just kind of use your common sense. And if there's no urgency to sell, there's no pain, the house is not distressed, you know, not all of the times, but most of the time it'll be a listing. Make sure you're partnered with a good listing agent that you can refer them your deals and possibly get a referral fee, right? So this is more or less. So again, if you got to comp your properties, what I use to comp my properties is PropStream. Again, I'm not getting any kickbacks from them. I use them. I've been using them for 5 years or so. I've used a Property Radar to comp. I used Pivy or Prixie, something like this. I use Batch, but you know, sometimes where you're just used to a service and you've been using it for so long, is what I use. I comp them, and they do pretty much nationwide. There's some states that are non-disclosure states, such as Texas, so they don't give you the accurate number that is sold for, but you know, more or less you can still comp through there. The cool thing about PropStream is that you can pull lists too. So let's say you want to pull a list of pre-foreclosures, absentee owners, out-of-state owners, let's just say trust. So you could filter them, and you could just Google it on YouTube, put pulling lists from prop stream, right? Let's just say pre-foreclosure, you set a date, what cities. I usually do LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Orange County, all Southern California. Anyone who's in pre-foreclosure, we pull the list and we call them monthly, right? We call them monthly. These are good lists, absentee list, a high equity list, people who have lived in the house for 20 years, own free and clear. So these are great lists to call. You could put them on a recurring basis to skip trace these lists monthly or bi-monthly, whatever you desire to do. Another service, I know Josh it does batch like a big bulk list, at least of 10,000 records at 3 cents a record. I do have an affiliate link. I believe that's one of the few that I have affiliate links for. Send it to me. I'll send it to you, and you'll get charged 3 cents per record, at least 10,000 records, and that should get you a sufficient amount of leads to start. So again, that's another marketing channel. You can do bandit signs, which I tried at the beginning, but anything that you tried that you haven't done for a long period of time, you can't say it doesn't work. It didn't work for me, but I'm fully responsible why it didn't work. I made the bandit signs and I put them about for a month or two, and then I gave up, and then because I had no calls, right? But I know like a lot of people still do it and it still works. I see them across the South Central, and there's going to be haters involved that are going to bring down your signs. Maybe the city jurisdictions that they're not going to let it, they're going to bring down your signs. So just be careful, more or less. But you're going to have to be doing, I don't know, swing by the area every month or so, because people are probably going to bring down your signs. So that's another marketing channel. So the two marketing channels that we're doing at the moment is agent outreach. We talk to a lot of agents who they do a lot of business, right? And at the end of the day, when you're outreaching to sellers, they're either when they need to sell, when it's time for them to sell, there's more wholesalers, which this is their job, right? Wholesaling, looking for distressed properties, who you're going to, I wouldn't say compete for, but they're also going to look for the deal, and agents, right? So it's better to collaborate with these agents. So agents, if you guys are listening, obviously I'm displaying wholesaling because we do out of state and nationwide wholesaling, but we're cash buyers. This is a property that we're in the city of Commerce, and we bought it through an agent. So if you have any deals that they're pocket listings, they need to sell fast, you can double end the deal. You can bring someone from your office to represent us in double end the deal. When the properties are, kind of like great deal, they need to sell fast, and we have a project, a crew aligned for this project, we usually pay an additional 1% from the buyer side. So give us the opportunity to buy your deal. I have a property right now in Palm Springs that we're negotiating, and that's it. The agent's gonna double end the deal, and potentially we're going to pay them an additional 1% on top of that, right? Because the deal makes sense, and we have a crew that is ready to work. It has slowed down on work. If you're an agent, now you have a legitimate cash buyer, which is Yoni, right? Or which is, in any event, there's a lot of my friends, Danny, Gerardo, Charlie, Alan, who are cash buyers. The list goes on and on. Don't get offended if I didn't mention your name. So the list goes on and on, right? But these are legitimate cash buyers. So now you, as an agent, when you're prospecting, door knocking, or cold calling, or referral based, now you have legitimate cash buyers who will purchase their house as is, no repairs, no contingencies whatsoever. So now you can go in front of your seller, and at the end of the day, you want to provide solutions for that. Hey, Mr. Seller, would you be interested in a listing or a cash offer as is? And if it's an as is offer, obviously you'll still make your commission. Just give us the opportunity before you blast it on MLS to buy it. Our ideal properties are a little bit distressed, where we can bring some value. Our ideal properties need to sell fast, 10 days. The fastest deal I closed was in 5 days. So it's really hard. All the dogs have to be aligned for sure. Clean title, has to be an escrow. Everything has to make sense, right? And the next one is PPC, which is pay per click. So I don't know how to work it. I hired a third party, and these people manage it. They charge me a management fee, and then we add money to Google, and Google, our card to Google, and Google automatically withdraws. So let's just say you're spending $3,000, $5,000 a month, so they just kind of withdraw, you know, $200, $300, and so until it depletes the limit that you set for Google. Let's just say $5,000 until it depletes the $5,000 a month, and you pay your marketing, your management fee to this other party, which I'll be happy to refer them to you. Just shoot me a message. It's working for me, and we're currently doing here in California, Northern California, Georgia, and I'm slowly moving into like Washington, Alabama, Texas, and probably the Midwest. But you know, kind of to give you guys an idea where we're marketing, but ideally we want to be in California and Georgia because that's where the strengths are at. I network a lot with wholesalers, which essentially is someone who's already doing this task that I'm telling you guys. We network with them and we try to, you know, collaborate. Can you give us a deal? Can you not give us a deal, but sell us the deal, right? Negotiate with them. There still has to be spread. The deal that I mentioned you guys at the beginning is in the city of Wilmington. The deal we bought for $510,000. It's worth $720. So there's still a spread there. And I bought it off a wholesaler. I bought this property with Charlie, a good friend of mine, and the wholesaler made, I don't know, 40, 50,000. Or probably more, I don't remember. But no, it was 60,000. So they made 60,000 on this deal. They sold it to us. So if you have any deals, you know, they got paid $60,000 to sell us this deal. So we'll be happy to pay you $60,000 to bring us a deal. And you don't really have to do this full time. You do this 2 to 3 hours a day. You know, maybe you won't get a deal the first month, the second month, the third month. You pop up deal of $30,000. It'll be a great fucking payday for those, you know, probably, let's just say 10 to 15 hours per week, right? That you're doing. And once you get the hang of it, it gets a lot easier. Another marketing channel is door knocking. So the best way I recommend to door knock is to pull a list locally, pre-foreclosure. These are people that are in pain, in distress situations, and you door knock them and you solve their problem. We are problem solvers, right? For whatever situation it is, life gets on the way. We're not here to judge. We're here to provide solutions. We're not here to steal anybody's house. We're here to provide solutions. They need to sell fast, and you're a cash buyer, or you're probably affiliated or partnered with someone like us that you can bring a cash buyer and solve their problem. I had a situation on a property in Blythe mid last year. The owner needed to sell within 21 days because he had another job offer that he could not resist to. It was double of he was making here, so he needed to sell. So this is when we came in and we solved their problem. Again, if they don't have a situation that they need to sell fast, be conscious to know, be aware, be present of what they're telling you, because they're gonna be telling you these nuggets, and you gotta go, we gotta be likable again to understand what they're telling us, and then you solve their problem. So that's another marketing channel that we're using. And I know, going back to Deal Machine, I know, you know, you probably work behind a desk, and I know they have a way that you can like navigate the internet and through the streets and see what's distressed, and you can still save the property through Google Street View, right? But I don't know how accurate these are. Maybe like the Street View on this house, it probably looks like it's still jacked because maybe the last time that was updated was last year. So who knows, right? But I know people do that, and that's it. So you know, and going back to the cold calling, a lot of people hire third-party cold callers. So what we did in the past is we hired a company, we hired our own, and we hired through a company as well. Cold callers, you're gonna pay an average between $4 to $6 to just cold call these lists. But as you're getting started, I'm giving you like legit the stuff to get started with the least amount of money that you can get the results as fast as possible. So I don't think you should outsource. I think you should like know these objections and know these dialogues, these acronyms that you're going to be talking to these sellers. So what do you do after you identify a property? Let's just say you walk your neighborhood and you start seeing these distressed properties. So if you don't have Deal Machine yet, just get the addresses, write them down, skip trace them. You know, let's just say after your, I don't know, 500 property, one hits, you do your comps, because you got to know how to do comps, right? So how do you do comps and what's a comp? So we find this 2-bedroom, 1-bath, City of Commerce. The seller's asking for $475,000. And so you got to look for like. You got to look for identical or very similar properties that have sold in the last, I would say 6 months, because 12 months, the market has been changing a lot. So, you know, just do your best to do 6 months. So we're going to look for another 2-bedroom, 1-bath that have sold. I did my comps here. There's a $710,000 and this is a $675,000, 2-bedroom, 1-bath on both. And if there's not, at least you want 3. You want to stay within half-a-mile radius. If there's no comps, you probably want to stretch to 3/4 or maybe a mile radius, not crossing main streets. So not crossing freeways or big free, like this side, back of me right here, there's a 710 freeway. So the other side of the 710 is going to be a different neighborhood. So you want to make sure you're within the same neighborhood, right? So there's that 710,000 and there's that 675,000. That's what we listed at 680, 690, because we wanted to be around there. I kind of knew because of the upgrades of this house that it's going to go around 710 to 725. We're in escrow at 725, and I don't see a problem, the appraisal being an issue because of the upgrades in this house. So you want to make sure and you'll be conscious that you're not spinning your wheels on properties that are not worth it, right? You build good rapport, you take them a contract. If you don't have a contract, send me a message. I'll send you my contract that I use. You tie it up. You know, in an event that you don't have a buyer, give me the opportunity to buy it. You know, if the deal is too skinny that we don't have sufficient profit there, give me the opportunity to sell it. I have the best buyers in Southern California, and I want to say nationwide, in LA and Atlanta, Georgia. We're selling, you know, we're like the guys that sell the dope in the street, but we sell the houses, right? So give us the opportunity to sell it. Also, we have the account of cartel mode and investor lift. So what that is it's a whole different conversation. But if you have a deal in LA, Atlanta, Georgia, or Seattle, Washington, Houston, Texas, and nationwide, if there's spread in the deal, give us the opportunity to sell it. So what we do is we put it on investor lift and we send it to 5 million vetted cash buyers nationwide. So and we sell a deal. The last deal that I sold, I sold numerous deals on investor lift, and this is a paid service. We paid $65,000 a year to have access to this cartel mode on investor lift. So it's not for everybody, but give us the opportunity. Our company will blast it for you, and we can work a deal that you can still make the most amount of money. Especially if you have a property in Riverside County, Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, Orange County, give us the opportunity. In the event that I cannot buy it because there's not sufficient spread for us to make a little bit of money, we'll sell it for you and you still make your fee. We'll sell it for you. We have the best buyers. If you have deals that they're required to demo the house and build, especially if they're zone multifamily, I have the best buyers in Southern California. I will sell you anything. So that's it. That's, obviously you tie the deal, you find a buyer, you put it in escrow. I work with, numerous escrows, in Southern California, but obviously I would only recommend you the best one. I'll recommend you the escrow that I use that is very, very familiar with assignments this wholesaling assignments. We'll find you a buyer, or you find your buyer and you put it into escrow. At the close of escrow, you get paid. When you visit the property, tie this property, I recommend you guys taking a lot of photos. Always never forget to take photos of the roof, plumbing, electrical panel, if there's any deficiencies with the house, if there's any water leaks in the ceiling, flooring. But the main capital expenditures, which are like big capex expenses, which are roof, electrical, what is gonna cost them the most, so they can give you an idea if they wanna buy it or not. And if you wanna fix the property yourself, it's going to require you a few things. The main thing, obviously, a contractor, you want to get an idea of what you're going to be spending and the construction budget and the construction cost. You're going to require a hard money lender. How it works is we have this $500,000 house, right? We're gonna buy it, it's worth $700,000, and we're gonna put $70,000 into it. There's still 130 spread. You're gonna spend about $20,000 in your hard money, $25,000 to sell, and you have a profit about, I don't know, $60,000 to $85,000, right? Depending on the market, how good of your upgrades. But let's just say $70,000. So there's still a profit on that, right? Remember, you still gotta pay taxes on that. So just be careful, not everything's profit, and taxing for flippers is pretty heavy. So just be mindful of that. But your hard money, if you have no experience, obviously the terms are gonna be less favorable. If you have more experience, if you're a recurring client, they're gonna be more favorable. What we're getting right now, we're getting 90% of the purchase. So $500,000. They'll fund 90% of the purchase, which is $450, and we got to bring the other 50, and they'll cover 100% of the rehab. So the hard money lender also provides the rehab money to you. Obviously, you give them a construction budget where you're going to be spending. Let's just say those $70,000 that you got to just kind of write it down, break it down for them. We're going to do the flooring, $2,500. It's more like $4,000 with labor, right? Electrical, another $5,000. Plumbing, another $5,000. Paint, interior and exterior, let's just say another $6,000. Kitchen, another $2,500, plus the install, another $2,000. And so you break it down for them, you come up with $70,000 in your construction budget. To me, this hard money will fund me 100% of my rehab. So they do 90% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab. They're charging anywhere between, like I would say, like a 8.5% to a 12%, depending on your experience. I think I'm getting a 9% at the moment. I believe that's it. And they charge you an upfront point. This is what they call a point. So I believe I'm getting 3/4 of a point at the moment. What that is 3/4% of the purchase sell. To simplify it, I'm gonna use 1 point. So let's say charge 1 point. And since they're funding 90%, which is $450,000, is $4,500. So we're gonna have to pay to generate this loan $4,500. And there's like little just junk fees within the appraisal fees, loan generation fees, which is $1,000. So there's gonna be a lot of little fees involved there but the main ones that you want to be aware of is how many points are you getting charged and what's the interest that you're getting charged, and and just kind of like their internal fees that they charge. When you're starting, you're probably going to get about 75 to an 80%. So they'll fund, let's just say 85% of the purchase. So I'm not a math freak, but 85% of the 500,000, and I'll have to come up with the balance, which is probably around 65,000. So I have to come up with 65,000, and they'll fund 85% of the rehab or 80% of the rehab. So whatever that 80% or 85% of the construction that we said is 75,000. So at the closing table, you need to come up with, let's just say $80,000, because the points and the fees and that. And they want to make sure that you have sufficient money. Let's just say it takes you 6 months to sell this deal. You have sufficient money to make the payments on this bank account. So your payment's going to be around $4,500, $4,000. They want to make sure that you have, I don't know, $25,000 in your bank account minimum for the life of the project, which is 6 months. So this is the amount of money that you're probably gonna need when you're starting, right? And the good thing is that when you keep using the same hard money, they keep giving you better terms. Once you reach, I believe, of like 6 or 7 or 8, they give you really good terms like the ones we're getting. So we're buying properties really, really cheap. Hard money, right? So we're getting like 3/4 of a point, and I believe 9% interest, which I think it's great. So that's really what you're gonna be charged when you're flipping. Another thing you want to be mindful when you're flipping. Obviously, when you're flipping, you do your ARV. Let's go back to our 700,000 exit price, purchase price 500,000, construction 70,000. Holding cost, and which holding costs is, anything that involves with insurance, your hard money payments, $20,000, and then what's your cost going to be to sell it? When you list it on the market, you're going to pay agent fees. It just depends how you negotiate with your agents, but let's just say another $25,000. So 20 plus 25, that's 45, plus 70 that I said, that's 115,000 plus 500,000, that's $615,000, exit price 700,000, and always add miscellaneous or just miscellaneous fees there, another $5,000. So that's $620,000, exit price of 700,000. There's an $80,000 potential profit there. So these are the things that you look for when you're wholesaling real estate, when you're flipping real estate. So remember, guys, as you're wholesaling in this journey, you are an asset to these people. These people need you. They're claiming for, imagine how much of a piece of shit you will feel if someone in your neighborhood lost their home to the bank, where you could have helped them, claim some of their equity, make a small profit, and give an opportunity to a flipper for them to make money. You see, you're helping the seller, you're helping yourself, and you're helping the flipper. And instead of losing their house, right? Same thing with you guys, agents. I know, like back in the days, a lot of agents weren't really prospecting fixers or distressed properties because that's not what you want to market. But these are great opportunities for you. If you're an agent, you can bring it to us and then you can list it for us. So there's endless opportunities for you guys can make money in this field. You're walking every day. I hope so, right? You're getting your steps every day. You're driving every day. So just be conscious of these houses. Some people are gonna buy these houses. There's divorces happening every day. There's death in families happening every day. People gotta move for jobs every day. People lose their jobs, unfortunately. And the thing that blows my mind is there's some people that only do fix and flipping, that only do rentals for Section 8. So these people are relying on you to bring them a deal, and you can help yourself to make your profit. You don't have to put a lot of time on it. If you put 2 to 4 hours a day, intentional, not dicking around and fucking on Instagram. If you're intentional about this, you could get at least a deal every month or every other month. $10,000, $20,000. We made $80,000 on a deal before, and the biggest assignment's $175,000 that I personally made on a deal. So there's so many ways for you to make money here, whether you're fix and flipping or whether you're wholesaling. It's just up to you how really you want to take this far. I was devoted to making this podcast to give you guys the information, because I'm asked a lot. What do I look for? What's my buy box? What will you sell them? So remember, 5 pillars: price, motivation, condition, time frame. What's next, Mr. Seller? Hey, it seems like we're a great fit for each other. And I was just talking to a seller yesterday, which her name's Chelsea. Hopefully, Chelsea, you get to see this. But your house, we're personally going to buy it, hopefully buy it, right? If you give us the opportunity. It's in the city. It's by Merced. I don't remember the city. But you ask these people, you become a solution for them. We more or less had the 4 pillars, and then comes the last one, right? Well, Mrs. Seller, it sounds like we're buying in this neighborhood. We're in the price range. The conditions, you more or less told me of that. But what's next for you, Mrs. Seller? Let's just say we could agree on everything, and we're getting ready to put an ink on the contract. Do you have a replacement home already, or are you doing a concurrent sell, or are you selling this one, buying another one? Beautiful. She goes, oh, I'm actually moving to Oklahoma. And then that's how you have to be interested. So you got to be interested, not interesting. Okay, remember that. And guys, when you're like talking to girls, be interested, not interesting. Stop talking about yourself. Be interested. So be interested in them. Same thing goes here. So it's like, oh, I'm moving to Tulsa. And I was like, I just happen to know Tulsa very well, right? So I was like, dude, I was in Muskogee and Muskogee, Oklahoma. I'm trying to find the other. Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow is like 15 miles from Muskogee. And I was like, oh, I know Muskogee and I go Broken Arrow really well. And then we just took off from there. So what do you got going on over there? Well, I'm getting a job transfer. I'm a supervisor. Oh, really? This sounds like you need a lot of patience for this job. And then we just went out. And guess what? She liked me a lot. Again, you got to be likable. Like, at least if I'm interested in selling my house and you're a dick with me, you're an asshole with me, believe I'm not going to do business with you. I want to be someone who might be interested in soccer, someone who at least shows me some type of interest of what I do or who I am, right? So remember, you got to be interested in them, not interesting. People like that are happening every day. People are moving out of California all the time. So again, I repeat myself, there's these opportunities happen every single day in your neighborhood. There's probably going to be in your same block that have happened with you. You've all seen distressed property. It doesn't take much. I would suggest you, if you have no experience, go door knock them, ask them if they consider it to sell. You don't have to do a big sales pitch. Hey, Mrs. Seller, I'm actually just partnered up with this cash buyer, so I want to see if you consider to sell your property. Are you open to a cash offer? That's it. That's how you break the ice. When I was kind of like shy of door knocking, I would just really ask, hey, my uncle's a landscape guy, and I want to, are you open to I just want to start a conversation with them, right? Are you open to getting a quote to do your landscaping? Oh, yes, no. Oh, okay, no problem. Well, I actually work for a firm and they buy cash offers, cash on houses like yours, which would be considered to a cash transaction. And then all you want to do is have conversations. That's all you want to do. Whether, if you guys remember on the text messaging, when you're texting someone, you want to get them on the phone. After the lead comes in, when you do PPC, what do? We want to get them on the phone. When you door knock, we want to talk to them. So you want to have conversations. Talk to people. So that's all you want to do. Talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. Have these conversations. You are the problem solution. There's a 6-degree separation that separates you from anyone in the world. And you're just 6 people away to know everyone in the world. So someone might need to sell that needs to sell that you haven't tapped into. So if this is something you're looking to do, you're looking to pursue, put yourself out there, learn how to comp, learn these systems. I already gave you guys everything. There's sufficient information on YouTube. If the only thing that's stopping you now, it's you. You don't have to be an expert. I would suggest, if you're kind of learning or want to get started, talk to these people. If they have a price, motivation, condition, bring them to my team. We will close them for you and we will get you paid as well. So this is more or less, just kind of like putting out there, we're closers. We close them all the time. We're really good at what we do, but I would prefer if you do it and you reap the full benefits. In an event that you're stuck, this is what we're here to help you throughout the road and help both of us get paid. Our team and yourself. But more than anything, you're gonna learn the whole transaction through people that are actually doing it. I hope you guys got some value from the podcast. I do believe I poured everything that I know that I'm currently doing into this podcast. I'm really excited for you to listen to this podcast. If you got some value from that podcast, if you need any of this information that I shared, the journal, the contract, the assignment, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. My email is riosyoni, which is RIOSYONI @gmail.com. Send me a DM. Send me an email if you have a deal that you want to dispo. So riosyoni@gmail.com. Send it to me. I'll comp it and I'll get back to you usually within like 6 hours, probably sooner, to be honest. If you have any questions regarding, like what we can pay, shoot it to me. If you have a seller that you need to sell and they're like, you need to close and you just, you're in a hurdle, you're in a plateau, give us the opportunity, we'll help you. I suggest you send this to any agent out there that's interested in wholesaling. This is a blueprint. This is really a blueprint of how to do it at a low cost and still make some money. Or this is a blueprint how to add your investor hat to what you're already doing in your prospecting. The best way to go about giving the value back is just leaving us a review if this provided any value for you. So again, I hope you guys crushed it in 2023 and you're on track and you set your goals to crush it in 2024. You are the commander of your life. You are the commander of your destiny, and this is totally in your control. So let's get it. I'll see you guys at the top, at the very top, at the tip top. This is Yoni Rios with Puros Huevos podcast, because this is how we started. Puros Huevos. I'll see you guys.